here, first things first, Sports Illustrated senior writer Chris Mannix joins us.
And not just a writer for Sports Illustrated, does a great online television show for Sports Illustrated that I had to cancel on him yesterday. It's a little family situation. Everything's all good, but it was a great show, and I'll make it up to you, Mannix.
Appreciate it.
Check it out on SITV.
What?
What up, Chris? You're just a weird dude. I had to cancel on Mannix like an hour before the show
about to argue
started.
so
I want to make it up for him.
Yeah,
right,
he didn't
Mannix.
miss you. He wants to be yelled at. Hold on, it's my show, Nick. Hold on.
Kyrie Irving's time in Boston did not go according to script. The script that was supposed to include a title or at least a trip to the NBA Finals. Boston getting bounced in the second round. And now Kyrie's weighing his options for next season. According to reports, Kyrie, who wanted his own team and his own leadership, is now, quote, more open to teaming up with LeBron James in Los Angeles this summer. Mannix, are the Lakers the best option for Kyrie at this point?
I don't know how to answer that because I truly don't know what matters to Kyrie Irving. And that's what this boils down to. Because 2 years ago, as you pointed out there, Kyrie Irving wanted out of the shadow of LeBron James. He wanted his own team, and he wanted the chance to be the guy and win with his own franchise. And he was pretty much given everything that he wanted. Boston offered him an elite GM in Danny Ainge, a high-level coach in Brad Stevens, and a supporting cast that was good enough to get to a conference finals without him. So he had all these things, and now it does seem like he's soured. He doesn't want that as much anymore. The reason for going and pairing back up with LeBron James is that there's a comfortability there. There's a knowing of what not just it means to play with LeBron, but the entire experience. One thing that Kyrie had that was problematic in Boston, with Brad Stevens in particular, was that they were very kind of oil and water when it came to how you approach the regular season. Brad Stevens is a process guy. He is get better every single week, every single month, and have some of those habits kick in when the season starts. Kyrie, or the postseason starts. Kyrie spent his formative years in Cleveland, where it was basically like, all right, let's just get through the regular season, and you know, it doesn't matter what seed we are, and we're gonna go and turn it on. That's familiar. Like, he can do that with LeBron James again. I just think it would be an incredible acceptance that he's not capable of leading a team if he walks away from the situation he had in Boston.
Do you think he's capable of being the best guy and leader of a championship level team? Now that we've seen all of this.
I think he's capable of it. That's probably as far as I would go. Look, last season with his leadership, it was throw it against the wall and see what sticks. That was basically his motto. I thought he kind of figured a few things out as the season ended. He stopped criticizing his teammates publicly. That didn't work early in the year. And he took a very, like, everything's going to be okay approach that I think that team needed. And I think if he came back with that type of mindset, I think he'd be in a better place. You also have to remember, if he does go back to Boston, he's not going back to the same team. I know people get sick of hearing me say this, but if Kyrie comes back to Boston, they're getting Anthony Davis. It's as simple as that. They'll go all in and get Anthony Davis. So he'd be coming back to a Celtic team that would be markedly different than the one he left this year.
As far as free agency is concerned, Kyrie Irving's probably the wild card for me. He's the guy that I worry about. He's the least predictable. And I could see why things in Boston, even though if Kyrie had a wish list of 5 things, Boston had 4 of those things. All the things he said he wanted: my own team, a coach, organization, support, a general manager, things that you mentioned, but it didn't work out. I don't believe, and there's a lot of people out there that think they're leaders. You know, when you're a leader, look over your shoulder and see who's following you. In this NBA season, wasn't nobody following Kyrie. So there's a lot of people out there, they swear up and down, oh, I'm a leader of people. No, you're not, because ain't nobody trying to follow you. I do believe that if Kyrie is looking at this, and I believe that him looking at free agency, because he's put some feelers out there, and people are concerned about him. People are like, I don't know, outside of Brooklyn, I don't know of a team that's going to bring him in as the best player. All the other situations have something to do with KD or LeBron. I'm about people being self-aware. I don't mind Kyrie deciding, you know something? This is what's best for me. This is comfortable, all right? I know LeBron is the big brother and going to take care of a lot of that stuff, but people need to figure out how they can get the best out of themselves. And that's what Kyrie, to me, in free agency should be about for him.
So, Nick, these two mentioned a whole list of things, a litany of things that Kyrie wants, and no one said winning on there. How important is winning to Kyrie Irving the way we know winning is to Kevin Durant?
Well, I think that for Kyrie, it's all about the postseason and long postseason runs, and that means winning. And that Kyrie is not going to, the Atlanta Hawks could max him out. And I know they have Trae Young, but set that aside. Like he is only going to go somewhere where winning is a true viable option. If you remember his initial list of potential teams to be traded to, the Knicks were the only one on that list that was not in a position to win that year, and they would have been the following year, freeing up cap space, signing a free agent. So I think winning and the ability to show out in the postseason, I think that can be a bit of a drug for guys. I think you all of a sudden go to some NBA Finals, you have the moment Kyrie had, one of the 5 biggest shots in the history of the league. It can be hard to feel like, okay, February against the Suns, let's go full bore, and I understand that. Now, the reason LeBron can get away with it to a degree that Kyrie can't is LeBron has shown over more than a decade, well, don't worry, my level of play will be at this near MVP or MVP level in the regular season, and it will get even better in the postseason. What killed Kyrie was his level of play was the best it had ever been in his career of the regular season, and then in the postseason he had 2 good games, and the final 4 games were a disaster. But we could pull the tape from months ago. Before Brian Windhorst was talking about it, before LeBron went on Instagram and played with the song playing about the good old days, whatever that song was, 2 days after it was reported that Kyrie Irving and LeBron James had that reconciliation, that conversation, I came on this show and Celtic fans got real mad at me and I said, the door has been opened to Kyrie and LeBron rejoining. And it was not because of what had been publicly reported. It was because of the conversation that was had that only a very close circle knows about, which was a bit of a remember when. And remember when, it's a quote, Tony Soprano, can be a very powerful drug. And especially when the remember when is juxtaposed to the present day going so poorly.
Rock bottom where they were at that point when that conversation took place. The thing about LeBron, too, is that people forget LeBron was eviscerated for a long time. My former colleague, Adrian Wojnarowski, used to dub it the championship of me that LeBron was all about for many years. It wasn't until he won that first title and multiple titles in Miami that the perception of him started to change. The other variable we haven't talked about yet with Kyrie, and you talk about maxing out and the Atlanta Hawks can do it, money is a variable with Kyrie Irving because all we heard, some of the things we heard in last year's postseason run was about how he was feeling this time last year, the knee issues, being on antibiotics, wondering when he was going to get back on the court, what his career was going to look like. There's a real chance that at the back end of whatever contract Kyrie Irving signs, that those knees are going to become a problem again, and you're going to be paying for past performance.
Yes.
Don't dismiss the thought that that Boston offering the 5th year with an extra $45–50 million as a factor in all this. Players I know have looked at John Wall, who may never be the same ever again.
He said, good thing he locked in that
He took the bird in the hand. He could have, said, oh, like, I'm going to go to free agency, try to get the Supermax. He took the bird in the hand, and now nobody's really set for life, but he's set for a long time because he's got guaranteed money.
Yeah, I talked to a prominent NBA executive who said Kyrie Irving is young, but he's got an old body. And you have to understand that those last couple years, that you might be taking on someone that's damaged goods or only just a shell of himself. But also, there's people that would take Kyrie if he was with Kevin Durant. If Kevin Durant said, I want Kyrie, then Kyrie's going to be on the team with KD.
Celtics will offer the full 5-year max.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Chris, stick around. Coming up, let's talk some conference talk. Will the Bucks turn things around in Game 5 against the Raptors? Next on First Things First.
Is Jaylen Brown on the Bucks now? Because he'd make a big difference in this series.
When we do conference talk, can we...